I watched the Tyson-Holyfield fight yesterday, that ended with technical knockout of Tyson. I started to think what was his problem, why Tyson lost his fight to Holyfield. When Tyson lost by technical knockout in 11th, I understood that Tyson wasn't capable of changing things on his own. Look, Tyson is a big and strong guy, but Holyfield is not weak either, right? When two big and strong fighters confront each other in the ring, physical parameters become of no importance. One of them needs something more to win. Holyfield strictly followed the instructions of his coach during the fight, who advised him how to defeat Tyson beforehand. They came up with a way to beat Tyson. First, Tyson was knocked down, and later he was technical knockout. In order to defeat a fighter such as Holyfield, you need something more than just a technique. Tyson had to outplay him both intellectually and psychologically. He had to outperform Holyfield, but Tyson had no idea how to do it. It takes Cus D'Amato to make Tyson win, his coach, who can explain how to win. That's the point. After all, boxing is not a street fight. There are a lot of nuances, rules, and other things. It has to be a fair fight. You have to outplay your opponent. Techniques and physical conditioning are not enough. That's why Tyson lost his fight. Tyson's view on the style of D'Amato is distorted. When D'Amato was alive, Tyson knew how to defeat his opponent in every fight. When D'Amato died, Tyson's view on the fight technique didn't give results with Holyfield. However, we know that by using the style of D'Amato, it is possible to defeat any opponent, even if he is stronger and bigger. It doesn't matter at all to what extent your opponent is stronger than you. Cus' system is designed in a way that it allows you to defeat anybody. Remember the quote of Tarecusa Ventura about this system. I applied this system in every battle on every continent, and no one could resist it. It is clear that on all continents there were strong and powerful armies, well-trained armies and warriors. They were very strong guys, but nobody could resist that military system. The problem is that the view of Cus on his own style differs from others. Even Kevin Rooney had a different view of this style. They could use this style on a certain level. I have comprehensively described the excess levels in my book Barometer of the Fight, which is the key to understanding the reason of Tyson's fiasco to Holyfield. If you carefully watch all 11 rounds of the fight, you will see that Tyson did the same things repeatedly. Holyfield already knew that Tyson was going to do the same thing in the ring, and he defeated him. Let me be repeated. Holyfield knew what his opponent would do, so he continued his fight until he nailed Tyson down. He continuously stuck with his game plan and kept on fighting until Tyson collapsed on his clay feet at the end of the 11th. Tyson is very tough. It is not possible to knock him out in the first round because of his defense and strength. However, the cumulative effect took the momentum round after round, eventually resulting in the technical knockout. What was behind the loss? That was Tyson's and Rooney's view on this style. It's not enough to have the view or an opinion for the victory. In other words, they are capable of using this style on a certain level only. Please pay attention to the fact that Tyson had unprecedented series of fights, like 30 knockouts one after the other. Those were unrivaled events. You will not find any other fighter in the boxing history who could perform something as Mike did. But in the fight with Holyfield, something is just not right. So what happened? The defeat is a consequence of his view on a style. When you watch these 11 rounds, you clearly see that Tyson made the same moves. He did the same things during the whole fighting. It gave no result because all opponents are different. One might adjust the technique to each opponent, but Tyson didn't. He fought the same way he used to. And so, what was the outcome? The defeat, technical knockout. This TKO demonstrates us what is the view in essence, the view on the science. For one person, the same science is an ultimate truth, but for the other, it's an immoderate lie. Even though both individuals had the same science, they might even have the same teachers, but they have totally different views. Academician Mr. Grigory Popov said that the whole problem of the science and its psychological pattern is the lack of an external measuring. A ring fight is an excellent external measuring tool model. By the time this external measuring tool was introduced, it became obvious that Tyson didn't know the science. For the reason, if one knows the science, he can easily apply it under any circumstances. To know means to be capable to freely use it. That's not the case with Tyson. Instead of using the science, he keeps on doing the same again and again and again. Please pay attention to his interviews. They are very interesting. Recently, my colleague Darina published Tyson's interview on social media where he told total nonsense. Even a first grader wouldn't say that. The video title is How to Beat a Fighter Stronger and Taller Than You Are. On the first minute, Tyson tells that you should jab. In other words, you should approach your opponent with direct strikes. Well, but your opponent is taller than you are, his arms are longer than yours, and you want to approach him in a linear way with a straight jab? Why would you do that? Why would anyone do that? That's nuts. This is what Tyson did in the fight against Holyfield. Great idea. And he was knocked down. Holyfield was taller. His arms are longer. Why would he go into direct contact in a linear way? Well, one more thing. Tyson said that you should go behind the back of your opponent. Well, it sounds good, but why in boxing? Yeah, in the street fight, it's a good idea sneaking behind the back of your opponent, but definitely it's not a good idea for the boxing ring. So why is it so? Evidently, Tyson has no mastery of D'Amato's style. He doesn't realize or understand technical, strategical, psychological, coordinating, biomechanical, geometrical systems of this style. All these facts have to be known in order to introduce changes along with tactics against this or that opponent. Well, Tyson simply cannot use this style freely. That's the reason he did the same things he used to do before. However, each fight is a different thing. So here and now we see an external measuring tool in science applied. For instance, in this case, 11 rounds is an excellent indicator that clearly shows us that Tyson makes mistakes, and that shows us what he knows and what he doesn't know. Bring to notice, please, that Evander Holyfield doesn't have physical qualities that Tyson has. He's a tough guy, but he's not Mike Tyson. And that's why it took him 11 rounds to get through with Tyson. He knew that he is not prepared as good as Tyson is, but as the proverb says, or the saying goes, a river cuts through rock not because of its strength, but its persistence. Tyson is bred for a quick victory. On the other hand, Holyfield imposed him a long fight. So Tyson lost it. It was like an electrical circuit that he couldn't stand out. Tyson is an emotional person, explosive, and he is not good in enduring long-distance fights. However, he was dragged into this long distance of 11 rounds by Holyfield. Instead, Tyson had to knock him out during the first 3 rounds. That's what he did many times before. Well, if any fighter dragged him into a long fight, that was done later on by Lewis as well, Tyson felt uncomfortable. If his opponent constantly prevents this chance to deliver a blow, he burns out. This is why his punches became weaker and weaker with each round. Psychologically, we could describe this situation in the following way. Once you are burned out, you stop thinking about how to win. Instead, it is about when will this fight will be over. This is the middle of the end. Punches become weaker and weaker with your thinking. If in the beginning of the fight Tyson's blows produced Holyfield, in the 5th round they were much weaker, and even weaker in the 6th round, 8th and 10th round, they almost had no striking power. Tyson was knocked down in 10th round and knocked out in 11th. Basically, it means that fighting machine was stopped. When Holyfield was smashing the head of Tyson, he stopped defending himself. So that was the technical knockout, because there was no point in carrying on the fight any longer. Tyson refused to keep fighting. He stopped counterattacking or defending himself in any way. So we conclude the machine was shut down. Holyfield was holding the machine, stopping it in every way and stopping again and again. So eventually, the fighting machine called Tyson stopped. And now let's switch to the method of Scientology used by L. Ron Hubbard. So Hubbard would say, if you keep stopping something for a long time, it will die in the end. These are the words of L. Ron Hubbard he used to say in his Philadelphia doctor course. So, one starts a movement, and somebody stops this movement. And this repeats again and again and again. If you stop somebody too many times, eventually he will be destroyed. Speaking about daily life, but only about ring fighting, well, we can say that the principle is the same. If you fail once, and the failure comes over again, and once again, then the person becomes a psycho. To say it in a simple way, psycho is the person with a total discontinuation. This is the person who gives up on everything in his daily life. He refuses to fight. He refuses to achieve anything. So usually people get stuck into the situation. Well, what do? They start crying out. They start shouting like, I want nothing in this life. However, this psychic position and this situation, when person doesn't want anything in his life, it's not the emergency condition. It's just the middle of the road. Let's take a look at the full diapason. If someone says, I don't want anything anymore, it means he is walking right in the middle of psycho diapason. The same thing was thought by Tyson in the ring. I can't take it any longer. So it's all about our I want or I don't want, and these ideas, this thinking, represent the fact that the person is just in the halfway to becoming a full psycho. But afterwards, the situation gonna go worse. Gradually, such person stops thinking about what he wants or doesn't want. Such person actually stops himself, stops his own thinking step by step, and finally this person will definitely come to the end point. To say it simpler, Tyson, who was bred for a short distance and swift victories, found himself in the long distance and under such circumstances that made him break down. Round after round, he became weaker and weaker. In addition to this, the reason of his loss is really simple. Mike Tyson, by his nature, is a typhoon erupting volcano. Well, in human memory, this type of volcano impulse is quite short in its duration. Holyfield's main type of an impulse is the burner that can combust endlessly. Comparing these two psychological categories, the burner and the erupting volcano, we should definitely conclude that the burner is stronger than volcano. And this is due to the point that burner might burn endlessly, while the volcano, this is something that works only in the periods of short time. So speaking about volcanic explosion type of person, well, we should say that it does no damage, as it will extinguish. However, the burner type of person will keep on burning. This is exactly what my life mentor Viktor Svetlov would say. Mr. Svetlov always told me, it is silly to run counter the train. Like, imagine that a train is coming towards you and you start facing this train. There is, much smarter decision. Please step aside, let the train go nearby, take a cigarette, and wait until the train stops. Once the train stops, take your tools and disaggregate it. The kinetic energy will terminate in any case. You could wait for the moment and make things get done afterwards. This is exactly what happened with Mike Tyson. Holyfield stopped him and took him to pieces. That was not too hard. And what happened afterwards? Today, Mike Tyson claims in his videos that, You definitely should approach an opponent who is taller and bigger than you are with your jabs. These pieces of advice were given by him by a person who doesn't know that this principle is totally counterproductive. You shouldn't definitely act this way if your enemy is taller or stronger than you are. If your enemy is taller or stronger, you have to stay in the middle distance, at the distance of your reach out with your hand. And since your opponent's hands are longer, he won't be able to fully stretch out his hand on such a distance. He can't extend his hand on the middle type of distance. So logically, he won't be able to deliver any strike. In such a case, he can't punch, but you can. If only you can punch, it will be like a massacre of the innocent. So there are many other things that one has to be skillful at. Thank you so much for your kind attention.